Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. Testimony in the Synagogue Leader Murder Trial for Michael Jackson-Bolanos resumes on Monday, and it's expected to be a big day of testimony. The defendant took the stand on Wednesday before the holiday break. He's going to be back on the stand on Monday to face cross-examination. Now, the prosecution says Jackson-Bolanos stabbed Samantha Woll 8 times around her face and neck during a home invasion in October of 2023. Well, the defendant admitted during his police interrogation that, 1, he was in the area at the time of Woll's murder. He says he didn't go into any homes, and he also said that he had nothing to do with that murder. All right, let's get into court now as the defendant takes the stand and tells the jury what he says happened that night.
Mr. Jackson-Bolanos, do you remember the night of October 21, 2023?
Yes.
Okay. Briefly explain how did that night start?
I was at Tierra White's house.
Okay, and who is Tierra White?
My girlfriend.
Okay. At some point in time, did you leave the house?
Yes.
Okay. How did you leave the house?
I left on foot, walking.
Okay. What did you take with you?
Besides myself, my phone, a lighter, and a flashlight.
Okay. Did you take any weapons with you?
No.
Okay. Did you take a knife?
No.
Okay. So why did you leave the house?
Well, I had told her I was going for a walk, but I was actually going to go look at cars.
Okay. And what was your purpose to go look at cars?
To locate them and see if they were accessible.
Okay. And when you say accessible, what does that mean?
Meaning, like, if it was unlocked, I was going to check through the car.
Okay. Any specific cars that you were looking for?
Mostly Dodges, Chargers, and Challengers.
Okay. Did you have any plans on actually stealing any cars that night?
No, not that night.
Okay. If you remember, where did you go first?
I walked out of her house and I turned on Cash Street and sat down in front of a pole.
Okay, and what were you doing while you sat down on the...
I was talking on my phone.
Okay. Approximately how long?
I don't know how long.
Okay. Where did you go afterwards?
I wandered off down Woodward, headed towards downtown.
Okay, did you have any particular destination in mind?
No set destination, just the downtown area.
Okay. Did you have a particular area such as apartment structures, parking lots that you were seeking to go to?
No, just the downtown area.
Okay. Did you go to any apartment complex?
Yes.
Okay. When you went to these apartment complexes, what did you do?
I checked out a few cars to see if they were unlocked.
Okay. Were some of the door handles unlocked?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do when the door handles were unlocked?
Like I stated, I would search through the vehicles to see whatever I could find.
Okay. Were you looking for anything in particular?
Just whatever that I found.
Okay. Did you find anything?
I found the bag on Lafayette when I was coming down Rivard.
Okay. Was there anything in the bag?
No, just like crumbled up papers, some corded headphones, some gloves, and a chapstick.
Okay. What type of gloves?
I believe surgical.
Okay. Were there any weapons in the bag?
No.
Okay. Was there a knife in the bag?
No.
Okay. Did you ever put any gloves on? Oh, those gloves on?
Yes. After I found them in the bag, I took them out. I blew up one, made a hand balloon, and I put the other 2 on.
Okay. Is there any particular reason why you put the gloves on?
Well, when I figured I was out for cars and was more than just taking pictures, I was going to eventually touch the door handles, and I didn't want to leave any fingerprints on the door handles.
Okay. What did you end up doing with the backpack at that time?
I stashed it in the walkway apparent to the street of Lafayette in some bushes.
Okay. Is there any reason why you did that?
Down the walkway, I seen that there were cars in the parking lot, and I wanted to come back and look at those cars.
Okay. And what type of cars are you referring to?
Just a sort of cars.
Okay.
I couldn't really specifically see.
Were there other things, if anything, that you actually took?
No, when I got to Jefferson, I went in a car and there was a plastic bag with like candy in it.
Okay. And was there a knife in that bag?
No.
Okay. Did you immediately walk off with that bag?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And you stated that there was candy in the bag?
Yeah, I found the candy, but I had dropped the bag when I had heard people approaching.
Okay. I'm going to... And do you remember approximately where you got that bag from?
A car near the River Place apartments, like in the front on the street.
Okay. I'm going to show you People's Exhibit number, I believe it's 78, which is a compilation, to ask you some questions in reference to this exhibit. Mr. Jackson-Bolanos, is this you on this particular camera?
Yes.
Okay, and what, if anything, are you doing at this particular time? I'll start playing.
I was walking away because I heard those people.
Okay. Is this still you at the top of the screen?
Yes.
Okay. If we pause, in your hand, it looks like you have something, I guess, illuminated. Do you have a glove on at this time?
Yes, I had on 2 gloves.
Okay. And are these the gloves that you retrieved from the backpack that you found earlier? Okay. I'll continue to play at 4:35, which is the same moment I paused at. Now, what are you doing at this point in time?
I was just like hiding, like,
Okay.
just trying to keep clear.
And why were you hiding?
Because I didn't want to be caught breaking into those cars.
Okay. Do you see some type of vehicle that's coming into view?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see this vehicle on the night of October the 21st?
Yes.
Okay. And in which vehicle did you see that you see now in this particular video?
It was a white security car with a yellow light.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you do on this particular, I guess, morning when you saw this security vehicle?
I had ran into the parking lot and waited for him to go around.
Okay. And where were you waiting at?
On the sidewalk, like beyond the, whatever you call it, the thing that lifts up the arm.
Okay. Did you open any apartment doors?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Were you looking into any apartment doors?
No.
Did you look into any apartment windows?
No.
Did you go inside any apartments?
No.
Now, what happened, at some point in time, did security leave your vision, or did you leave their vision, or?
Yes, when they left, when they went back around, I had checked out a few of those cars that were aligned this way, like parked this way, and the cars that were parked this way, so down the street of Juliet Place.
Okay. And then what did you do next?
When there was no cars unlocked, I had went to go retrieve the book bag, but upon me doing that, that was when I saw a dark figure outside.
Okay. And what, if anything, was this dark figure doing?
Looked like it was ducked down.
Okay. And what did you do when you first saw this dark figure?
I was just stopped, froze up for a second, just to kind of wait and see what makes the first move.
Okay. Did this dark figure ever make any movements towards you?
Not at all.
Okay. What, if anything, did you do after you waited to see who would make the first move?
Well, when it didn't move at all, I just moved towards it.
Okay. And when you were moving towards it, before you moved towards it, did you know what that dark figure was?
No, just that it was large and dark.
Okay. And how far away were you when you first noticed this dark figure?
I don't recall. I didn't fully come into like contact yet.
Okay. You stated that you started to walk towards this dark figure?
Yes.
Okay. At some point in time, were you able to, I guess, ascertain what this dark figure was?
When I got close enough, yes, I could tell it was a person.
Okay. Could you tell it was a male or a female?
Not right off the hand.
Okay. Was this person doing anything?
Laying down on the ground.
Okay. And what position did you see this person laying down on the ground in?
With their back towards me.
Okay. And did you approach this?
I did.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you do when you approached?
I touched the person's neck to see if they were okay.
Okay. And was the person okay? Did they respond to you?
They wasn't okay.
Okay. And you said you touched their neck?
Yes.
Do you know which hand you might have used?
My right hand.
Okay. And why are you sure that you used your right hand?
Because I remember.
Okay. And did you do anything? Did you shake the body? Did you do anything?
I didn't shake the body. I just checked the neck, put my hand kind of like in between right here. No air, no like breath or nothing. And once I realized that I just touched the dead person, I just grabbed the bag and I left.
Okay. And what did it feel like? What did the body feel like?
Cold and like crusty.
Okay. Was it wet? Was it dry?
Like paint on the wall.
Okay. Did you attempt to call the police?
My first reaction was to reach for my phone, but I had to consider where I was and what I was doing at the time. And I didn't feel like, me personally, that would be a good idea to call the police. Okay, and when you said you had to consider where you was and what you were doing, let's just, I guess, break that down a little bit. What were you doing in your mind? Well, I was over there breaking into cars. Well, not breaking into cars, but going into motor vehicles. And I felt like if I had to call the police, I would be incriminating myself, because the first question they're going to ask is, what are you doing over here? Okay. And it'd be fair to say that you didn't have permission to go in these people's cars or attempt to open their doors, correct? No, I didn't. Okay. And you also stated that you had to consider where you were. In your mind, where were you that made a decision onto whether or not you called the police? I was in an area where I didn't belong. I don't live over here. And my address is way on the west side, and I'm out breaking into people's cars.
All right, we'll step aside here, take a break. When we come back, the defendant's attorney walks Michael Jackson-Bolanos through why he initially lied to the police. That's next here on Court TV.
Weekends on Court TV.
Were you going to do some home improvement, or were you buying a murder weapon?
This is terrifying.
Every minute counts.
Let's move quickly.
8 hours of back-to-back true crime cases every Saturday
This is really a whodunit.
I haven't seen somebody this ruthless in a long time.
on America's original true crime obsession.
She was killed here.
Oh my God, oh my God.
48 hours on Court TV. Saturday starting at 4/3 Central on Court TV.
Lied to police about that night.
What did you do next?
Well, once I realized the person was dead, I grabbed the book bag out the bushes and I went over by Greektown, walked past the overtime, like the
Okay, and
overpass.
how far away was this book bag from this area of the body?
So the walkway leaving out the parking lot would have been in these bushes on this side.
Okay. And you said you grabbed the book bag from the bushes?
Yes.
Okay. If you remember, do you remember which hand you may have grabbed the book bag with?
No, I don't recall.
Okay. And after grabbing the book bag, which direction did you walk to?
I was headed back towards Midtown, so I took Lafayette to the Service Drive and crossed that street where the people were striking at.
Okay. I'm going to begin to play at 4:23 and 18 seconds as far as time, which is 1:12 and 38 seconds on the compilation. Now, Mr. Jackson-Bolanos, is this you with the green circle around you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I have a question. If you were avoiding people all night and avoiding confrontation, why would you walk towards individuals where you can... let me back up. Before you made that right from Monroe, could you see those individuals striking outside?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you stated earlier that you were trying to avoid confrontation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why would you walk towards these individuals who were clearly outside striking in the cover, not even the cover of darkness, but in a heavily lit, heavily surveilled area?
Because I wasn't going into any vehicles at that time, and I had just seen a dead woman laying outside, and I wanted to be around people that were alive.
Okay. Now, you didn't discard anything towards the freeway, did you?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit. And I believe it's 4:25 and 23 seconds that's depicted on the time, actual time, but 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 22 seconds on the compilation. And Mr. Jackson-Bolanos, what, if anything, are you doing right now?
I was texting Dr. Washington.
Okay. And Mr. Jackson-Bolanos, what, if anything, are you doing at this point in time?
I flashed the light on my hand because I felt like that crust light drying up.
Okay. And did you see anything on your hand?
Yes, it was blood on my hands.
Okay. And what did you think when you saw that, if anything?
I just panicked.
Okay. And why did you panic?
Because I had just touched a dead person.
Okay. Did you kill that person?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Did you ever enter that person's house?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever remove any items from their pockets?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Did you stab Samantha Woll?
Absolutely not. I had no weapons on me that whole night. What I'm out there doing, I don't need no conflict, no confrontation with anybody.
Okay. Did you ever attempt to go inside of Samantha Woll's house and have a confrontation with her?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever punch Samantha Woll?
Absolutely not.
Did you instruct anybody to wash your clothes?
No.
Okay. Did you instruct anybody to discard of any of your clothes?
No.
Okay. At some point in time, you were arrested, November the 30th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were questioned by Detroit police, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you were originally arrested, what was your understanding as to why you were being arrested?
Property crimes. Something about some glasses with a pawn shop.
Okay. And why did you think that?
Why did I think?
Yeah, why did you think it was involving property crimes?
That's what they told me.
That's what they told you? Okay. And what did you think that they were, I guess, insinuating when you're in an interrogation room and they're asking you about glasses in a pawn shop?
Well, the type of glasses that they were mentioning are most glasses people either get robbed for or killed for, and I was telling them I didn't do none of that.
Okay, and what type of glasses were these?
Cartier.
Cartier glasses? Okay. Just for those who may not know what Cartier glasses are these just glasses you can buy at CVS or?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Are they a high-priced item?
Yes.
Okay. And did you attempt to explain how you came into contact with these glasses?
I did.
Okay. And at some point in time, the detectives, they asked you about whether or not you do breaking and entering of cars, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you tell them?
I told them that I wasn't.
Okay. Was that truthful?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. And at some point in time, did they ask you about what you were doing on October the 21st?
Yes.
Okay. And did they ask you whether or not you were walking around the city and checking door handles of cars?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And what did you tell them?
I told them that I wasn't doing none of that.
And was that the truth?
It wasn't.
Okay. And why did you lie to them?
I have a history of cars, so I figured I didn't want to be in trouble, and I'm already facing habitual status if in trouble with any more cars.
Okay, you said you have a history of cars. What do you mean? You had a history as being a mechanic, or what does that mean?
No, like motor vehicle thefts.
Motor vehicle thefts? Okay. And you said habitual? What does that mean?
Meaning, like, to my knowledge, any new charge with the same crime, I was looking at 25 or more.
That's what you thought?
Yeah, because I was a third, so a fourth would make me fourth habitual.
Okay, for stealing cars?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at some point in time, they presented you with some photographs, correct?
Yes, they did.
Okay. At some point in time, did you ever admit to at least hitting door handles or checking door handles?
I did. I admitted to messing with a few cars, taking pictures of them.
Okay. And when you say taking pictures of cars, that particular night, did you take any pictures of any cars?
I did.
Okay. And how many cars did you take pictures of that night?
One that I know of offhand was a Charlie because of the specific type and model it was.
Okay. And you say a Charlie. Could you just...
Dodge Challenger.
Dodge Challenger. Okay. Was there anything specific about this particular Dodge Challenger that...
Most sort out, like, type car. It was a Scat Pack.
Okay. Was there anything, I guess, notable about this particular Scat Pack that you photographed that night?
The entirety of the car and the license plate.
Okay. And what about the license plate that was, I guess, notable to you?
Well, with the license plate, I just send it to the Telegram chat group, and they'll run the information.
Okay.
All right, let's bring in our guest for this hour. With us, Michigan Chief Public Defender Paulette Lofton is with us, and still with us is criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Franz Borghardt. Paulette, I want to start with you. This is a defendant that I think the jury clearly is predisposed not to like. I'm listening to his testimony. I don't like him, right? Because I've had my car broken into, and it's like the worst thing in the world. You feel violated on every level. But at the end of the day, I think the defense really had no choice but to put him on the stand. Your thoughts?
I would agree. As a defense attorney, making that decision is always difficult. Obviously, if it's a self-defense claim, you understand that the defendant probably has to testify. But here, I think one of your past guests was correct. He has nothing to lose. Obviously, he was found with traces of her blood on his clothing. And if they don't give some explanation of how that could have possibly happened, and give a good explanation, then I think it leaves the jury with no other option but to find him guilty. I do think he's coming across, I know what you said, obviously, people especially that have had their cars broken into are thinking, oh my goodness, this is such a pain. But he's coming across well, I think. He's not coming across like he's confrontational. Obviously, this is direct. We don't know what he'll be like on cross, but he seems to be doing well. He doesn't seem like this is overly rehearsed, and he does remember specific details that I think do help his case.
Franz, how's he doing? I agree. He's coming across pretty natural. There are a couple of things that I'm having issues with in terms of the story he's telling. But first off, let me just get your thoughts on how he's doing so far with his testimony.
I'm kind of in a why not place right now. Like, this is all so ridiculous that why not? Like, he is coming across as somewhat credible. Dislikable, yes, but credible. Now, it's a little convenient, right? It's a little too convenient. And what I struggle with, if I was a potential juror, what I struggle with is, had he come out of the box and said, look, guys, I was there, but I didn't kill her. This is all the truth. If he tells the cops that at the beginning, he's in the same boat he's in now, right? It's not like the police are going to say, oh, well, you know, we believe that you're just a car burglar and not a murderer. And since you've told us the truth, then, you know, we're not going to arrest you, right? He'd be in the same chair regardless. It would just be a little bit more consistent than the lies he told during the interrogation. There's a lot of credibility issues that the jurors are going to have to get past with regard to the car burglary piece, Michael, which you've already expressed your disdain for. You know, but again, why not? Why not? Why can't this all just be true?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, but let me point out a couple of things, Paulette, that I have an issue with, and then you can speak to them. Number one, who washes their jackets? Right? I mean, the girlfriend took the stand. She said she saw nothing on it, but who washes their jackets? That's number one. Number two, he just happened to find a backpack that had surgical gloves in it. Interesting. There's a little bit of a coincidence. Then he talks about this idea that he doesn't want to get involved, so he doesn't tell police, doesn't call police after he finds the body. Well, then why is he going up to the body? And if she was stabbed around the neck and the head area, there had to have been blood around there, and he's touching the neck. Why is he doing that? Why not see somebody laying on the ground saying, I don't want anything to do with that. I'm out here committing crimes. I'm out of here. I'm struggling with those.
I'm struggling as well. Obviously, we see in the video and with his testimony, he's saying he's trying to avoid people that night. He sees a security person. He goes the other way. He sees people walking out of some sort of establishment. He hides. We see him going and hiding. So it doesn't make sense that he sees this dark figure and decides to approach it. That to me was also hard to understand. Also, his testimony about what he did and how he felt the neck and that it was crusty. Some of the details were just a little too rehearsed, I think, in that portion. I think all of the other stuff he does pretty well, but it's that specific description of the body and what he does, to me, that just seems like it's a little too convenient.
Absolutely, and it's the most important part of his testimony. I can certainly understand him going up to the body. There's a lot of people say, okay, somebody's drunk, maybe I can take their wallet or something. I get that as a petty criminal, but then to touch the body, some of that doesn't make sense. All right, we have a lot more coming up. Folks, stick around. Defendant Michael Jackson-Bolanos tells the jury about a knife that was actually found on him during his arrest. Keep it here on your front row seat to justice.
We're hunting tonight. We're not the hunted.
It's Friday night WNBA action.
Your weekend is heating up.
This ain't a game. Digital flame, get out the way.
From the court to the pitch.
Still been the same, put that on the line.
It's Saturday Night Soccer on ION.
Back-to-back nights, all season long. ION, it's on.
Court TV Live, I'm Michael Ayala. Testimony gets back underway on Monday in the Synagogue Leader Murder Trial for Michael Jackson-Bolanos. He took the stand on Wednesday in his own defense, and Jackson-Bolanos is on trial for the murder of Jewish community leader Samantha Woll. Prosecutors say Woll was brutally stabbed to death in her own home in October of 2023. Well, Jackson-Bolanos admits to being in the area at the time of Woll's murder, but says he had nothing to do with it. Now, while on direct, Jackson-Bolanos testified about the knife that was recovered on him during his detainment. Let's go back into court for more of his testimony.
At that point in time, did you know why you were being arrested?
No.
Okay. Were you ultimately taken to the police station?
I was.
Okay. Did you ever attempt to hide contraband and bring it into the station?
No.
Okay.
Like I stated, man, the knife that I had on me was a seatbelt cutter, but it had got it in my pocket because I was changing the Ring camera and had to pop it off the wall.
Okay, you was changing what Ring camera and where?
At the Springfield Village Apartments in Roseville, I was changing the Airbnb camera.
Okay. And when you say Airbnb, is this an Airbnb that you're in business with, or?
Yes.
Okay. And why would you be using such a tool to change a Ring camera?
Because it wouldn't come off at first, so I went back to my car. I grabbed it. That was the only thing that was in vicinity to use to pop it off.
Okay. Now, when you were brought to the police station by the troopers, did they ever ask you if you had any weapons on you?
No.
Okay. Did they search you?
Yeah, he patted me down before he put me in the truck.
Okay. And once you got to the police station, did they find the knife on you, or did you take it out yourself?
I took it out myself.
Okay. Were you ever trying to conceal this weapon?
No.
Okay. Now, you stated that this is a seatbelt cutter. What is a seatbelt cutter?
Just a pocket knife sort of cutter that you keep in your car. I drive recklessly a little bit.
Okay. So you're driving. What significance? You driving recklessly that you stated. I mean, what significance would that have with a seatbelt cutter in your mind?
Meaning, like, I drive a little bit fast, so in case of a crash, I would want to just cut the seatbelt off.
Okay. Did you have a fast car, or?
Yeah, I drive a 07 RT Hemi Charger.
Okay.
Say that again.
2007 Dodge Charger RT Hemi.
Okay, so let's fast forward back to your second arrest in December. So just to be clear, during the time of November the 30th until your second arrest, did you make any plans to leave the area?
No, I didn't. I had a trip for a friend's birthday party in Houston, Texas for December 8th. That was marked on my calendar at work.
Okay. Were you ever following this Samantha Woll's case prior to you being arrested on November the 30th?
Beforehand, yes, because I was the person that came in contact with her at night when she was laying out there, so I wanted to know what happened. I didn't know if she was shot, stabbed, or whatever.
Okay. Because you made reference during your first interview as to holding a gun before but never shooting anybody. Why did you say that?
Most homicides are gunshots. And then, like, not to play the race card, if black person, you telling me I'm involved in a homicide, I believe you think I shot somebody.
Okay. When you saw that Samantha Woll's body that particular night, did you know how she died?
No, it was too dark to tell, like, what had happened to her.
Okay. Could you see any wounds on her?
No.
Okay. Now, were you aware that somebody originally was arrested in the investigation of Samantha Woll?
Probably when it came on at work. My boss was watching it.
Okay. Were you aware of when that person was released from custody?
No.
Okay. Did you attempt to buy a passport and flee the country?
No. The same day passport was for a Halloween party that was coming up, and I couldn't get to Windsor, but if you go downtown, you gotta have your trip booked, and you gotta show that to the people downtown, and they give you a same day passport.
Okay. Did you ever obtain that same day passport?
No.
Okay. Now, in regards to your second interview with Sergeant Ford, would you classify that as a cordial, I guess, exchange between the two of you?
No, because I was frustrated that they were still trying to accuse me of killing somebody that I didn't even kill, that I didn't go in nobody's house, but yet you're harassing me. I wasn't even able to lock up the store or nothing. I got the store keys on me. Now I gotta have other people call other people to come do things. I was frustrated.
Okay. And Sergeant Ford, he told you some things about having some type of DNA evidence, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And at that point in time, I mean, how did you feel?
Confused at first because I don't see how I didn't do anything, and it just was like his demeanor was like he was judging me, like as if I had did something, just treating me like a criminal.
All right, folks, coming up, more testimony from the defendant in the Synagogue Leader Murder Trial. This includes jailhouse calls made by the defendant. Stay with us. A-list actor Alec Baldwin is cast in the real-life role he never wanted.
I try and cock the gun, the gun goes off.
Criminal defendant.
His lack of gun safety is something that he's going to have to answer for.
We heard that this was a toxic set.
One more.
It's not his fault. He did nothing wrong.
Is there an actor's exemption from liability when they're handling a deadly firearm?
The Alec Baldwin manslaughter trial. Live coverage begins Monday morning only on Court TV.
We are bringing you the direct examination of defendant Michael Jackson-Bolanos in the Synagogue Leader Murder Trial. Now, he's accused of stabbing Detroit Synagogue leader Samantha Woll to death last October. Let's pick up the testimony now as he's questioned about his experiences in jail.
Now, Mr. Jackson-Bolanos, what, if anything, did you tell Detroit police officer Chad Osmond?
I had just simply told him, like, man, I didn't do this. I seen her when she was outside. I checked her vitals. There was nothing I could do, and I left the scene.
Okay. And approximately when did you tell Officer Osmond this?
The day of the second arrest.
Okay. And Mr. Jackson-Bolanos, did anybody ever tell you to say you touched the body?
No.
Okay. And when you testified the day that you touched the body, is that the truth?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, at some point in time, you were, I guess, processed in the Detroit Detention Center, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were moved to Wayne County Jail?
Objection leading.
Okay. So were you moved to Wayne County Jail?
Yes.
Okay. And in the Wayne County Jail, do you have phone privileges?
Yes.
Okay. At some point in time, did you call Tierra White?
I did.
Okay. And would you frequently call Tierra White?
I do.
Okay. And what would you discuss, if anything?
Just the harsh conditions of being in the county, being accused of something you didn't do, various things. How is her day going?
Okay. And you have heard some jail calls that were played in court in regards to, I guess, a washing of a jacket?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the calls that were played, were those the entirety of that particular phone call?
No.
Okay. And if you heard the entirety of that phone call, would you be able to recognize your voice?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to publish defense exhibit, proposed exhibit 10, which is the entirety of the jail call relating to Mr. Jackson-Bolanos, which I believe was People's Exhibits. Hold on.
Was the entire phone call admitted or just a clip?
The entire.
Yeah.
It was redacted, Your Honor.
Oh, like.
Okay, and we would like to publish the entire.
What number was it, Nelson? Which one are you referring to?
The watch. I have it. 91.
They feel a certain way because of the narrative that the news is painting of me, bro. I ain't that bro. I'm not the killer. I'm not looking for. I'm just I was in the neighborhood doing something totally different.
I'm sorry, but I don't even understand how this happened.
It's terrible, bro. I'm pissed. I'm mentally pissed off right now. I'm not supposed to be in here, but yet all this is happening to me. Bro, it's not real life, bro. Maybe I'm sleeping or something. Maybe I'll wake up soon and reality will be back. Maybe this is the afterlife right now and I'm still asleep, you feel me? Like I just gotta wake up back to reality, cause what the bro? This don't seem real at all, bro. It's no way I'm going through right now, bro.
Cut that already.
And they so dumb, bro. They so dumb. Never even washed the jacket, bro. It was already how it was. If washed the jacket, bro, it wouldn't have been nothing on the jacket. Like y'all so stupid. That's
yes, it has been watched. It has, and I express that.
At any time, did you instruct Miss White to wash this jacket?
No,
okay.
I didn't.
At any point in time, did she tell you she washed this jacket?
On this call.
Okay. Is this the first time you ever heard about her washing the jacket?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, that was his girlfriend he was speaking to on the phone. She did testify in this case, said the same things on the stand. All right, still with me for discussion, Michigan Chief Public Defender Paulette Lofton, and also with us, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Franz Borgard. Franz, let me start right there, because as I mentioned before, the washing of the jacket was an issue for me. If I'm looking at who I'm going to believe and whether I'm going to convict him of this crime, what do you make of that? I mean, she did take the stand and said, look, she just decided to wash it, not because she saw anything. She didn't see anything on the jacket. And admittedly, the amount of blood found on the jacket was basically microscopic. So what do you make of the washing of the jacket?
Part of me wants to say it was an attempt to destroy evidence. The other part of me wants to say, like you, Michael, I just don't wash jackets. Now, look, I live in Louisiana. We're not wearing a lot of thick North Face jackets on a regular basis. I mean, it doesn't sound right. And again, I think what the jury is going to believe is they washed the jacket because there was probably things on the jacket they didn't want discovered, which it didn't work, right? So I think that is a fact that the jury is going to have problems with. You know, the like you mentioned earlier, the gloves as well, but that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's a rough one to get over because, again, you just think about your own experiences. That's what jurors are told to do, Paulette. What are you expecting from prosecutors? On Monday morning, he'll begin his cross-examination by prosecutors. Based on some of the information we're getting and what we know about the case, what do you expect from prosecutors?
Usually in these type of trials, the prosecutor is going to try to get under the defendant's skin because they want to see that quick anger. Because obviously he's trying to paint himself as, just a concerned citizen, checking for a pulse and going on his merry way. And the prosecutor is going to want to show him as someone that could be aggressive. Obviously, I think they're going to focus on the fact that he told the police initially a different story. I know, like you said earlier, if he had come out and just said, this is exactly what happened. I know it doesn't look good. Maybe I am the unluckiest man in the world, but this is what happened. But it seems like now that he knows what evidence is against him, the videos that they have, the DNA evidence, he's been able to craft a story with very good details in some parts to explain everything. Where if he had maybe not been 100% truthful in that first interview, but had at least said, I approached the body. So there is a way to explain how there could have been a transfer of that DNA. I think it would have been a lot easier. So I think the prosecutors are really going to have a field day. I think prosecutors tend to love when a defendant takes the stand because they're not as rehearsed and they have not been on the stand before. So it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Franz, we've said it many times, once the defendant takes the stand, it really then becomes all about the defendant. Do you believe him or not? And that's one of the problems of putting him on the stand.
Well, all his other crimes that he's been convicted of will come in, right? He's already talked about it. He has given the prosecution the gift of putting himself at the crime scene. So it's no longer a question of, was he there, not there? He was there. His own testimony confirms he was there. Now, the issue as to whether or not he stabbed this poor victim or not is going to be for the jury, but he has made their job a lot easier. And I agree. If he shows any bit of anger or a rage on the stand, is it that far of a leap for the jury to say, this guy looks passive, but, when pushed, he gets angry, and maybe this was a burglary gone wrong. He's admitted that he had a knife, that he, the reckless driving box cutter knife. That doesn't sound great either. So, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a prosecutor's dream, getting to cross-examine the defendant.
Yeah, and I think the knife found on him, that wasn't connected to the crime per se, but again, he's predisposed to have a knife, so certainly that can't be helpful. Quickly, in about 30 seconds, Paulette, I suggest if used right, the criminal history could help him. If there's nothing with breaking and entering, if there's nothing with violent crimes in it, a lot of stolen cars could actually help him. 20 seconds.
I agree. Usually criminals stick with the same type of crime that they have been committing. There's no video footage of him trying to open any other doors. I think the criminal history does help him. I think you're right on that.
Yeah, so that could end up being helpful in a weird way. All right. Coming up, folks, on Monday, Defendant Michael Jackson-Bolanos will be back on the stand. We're going to bring you this live. We're going to bring it to you live starting Monday at 8:45 a.m. Monday.